Good evening, everyone. DJ Pat here. Well, tonight I would like to talk about the history of the sparkle. Now, if anyone doesn't know what a sparkle effect is, it was one of the older American DJ lighting effects, about mid '90s. This effect has been out since, and it's always been a great effect. And there's been a progression from when it first came out till what we know now, especially with LED technology. And it's always one of those effects that I always really loved. It actually mimics a disco ball without having the big disco ball and hitting it with a pin spot or two, because we always run into problems of where to hang this thing and whatnot. But we realized if we put these sparkles up, 2 or 4 or whatever, we would get the same kind of effect, a nice little moonflower effect on the dance floor in all white. So the first sparkle, which I do have, I've got some of these. This is it. This is the very first sparkle. See? It's a metal housing. They're pretty heavy. But these things are bulletproof. These things take a lot of abuse as far as usage goes. And they were always so gosh darn reliable. All it is just a white halogen bulb against the mirror and producing all the little spots and doing a moonflower effect. So this particular light is something that we with the bracket would hang like this. Sometimes we get kind of crazy and mount it on the floor and use the bracket like a little yoke like this and stand it up. Sometimes we would even take a little piece of plastic gel and cut it out and put it in there and change the color. That's before we had a lot of like before it was just a bulb with a colored piece of plastic over it. If it was a lighting effect that was supposed to produce a beam of light that was a different color other than white. So this is one of those ways of making it change color, which we tried to do and actually did it fairly well. So this was the sparkle. It was then later replaced with something called the Rotopod. And this is the Rotopod. Different housing, just a little bit smaller, a little lighter. It's got the metal bracket, it's got some metal insides, and it's also got a plastic housing. The beads that would come out to do the moonflower, a little bit cleaner, condensed look, and it was worth it getting these. Even though the construction on them wasn't 100% the greatest, because some of them I noticed after a while just the insides with the metal mounted inside the plastic would break sometimes. So so these kind of, I've went through several of these. And then these from the Rotopod. From the sparkle went to that Rotopod. Then you had the Rotopod 250. So, which I've got several of these. It can, one of the differences that this has that the others doesn't, it can do the moonflower effect. It can stop and just be static, or if you flip the toggle on the back, it'll produce the moonflower. And it had a little bit extra wattage to it, so the beads on the dance floor a little bit crisper and a little brighter. So we liked this one. This one is nice, and it's even lighter again than the previous model. But this one is pretty solid piece, and I really do like it. But then from here, and I gotta be honest with you, I never liked the name Rotopod. To me, it was always a sparkle. To anyone else I ever talked to, it was always a sparkle. So I never dug the name Rotopod. So when the LED lighting kind of really took off, one of those lights that I hoped and prayed that American DJ would redo again and make an LED model, they have answered my prayers. And they've gone back to calling it a sparkle. The Sparkle LED. A lot smaller, a lot lighter. The only mechanics in here is the motor that turns for the Moonflower, and again this has the switch on the back to get it to remain static or motion. You can't beat what it does produce on the wall. So just for the heck of it, I think I'll go ahead and do a demo of what they all look like in the dark to see each one of them go, you know, starting from the first one all the way to the last one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that for you. Okay, everyone. What you're seeing right here is the original Sparkle. Again, the great thing about these lights is they never had any duty cycle. You could run these things all night long and they looked great. It's one of the old halogen bulbs. If you can see what the pattern that you're seeing of the light is actually the coil as it goes up and winds and goes down the other side. So it's the coil of the inside of the bulb that makes the effect. It's nothing else but that. So this is again the original Sparkle. Let's put this down. Now this is when I switched over to the Rotopod, just regular Rotopod. I'll even put them kind of side by side, so you can kind of see the difference. Here's the original Sparkle. Here's the Rotopod. A little brighter, you know. It really is pumping out that energy in the form of the bulb. So a little bit brighter. There we go. So now let's move on to the Sparkle 250. Go ahead and plug this in. Now let's look at the difference of the Sparkle 250. Okay, so there's the 250, or the Sparkle 250. Excuse me, Rotopod. See, I always called it a Sparkle. Doesn't matter. So they're a lot bigger. And a little bit brighter, I think, anyway. So there's the two mixed together. I think coverage-wise, you got more on this one right here, which is the Rotopod, and that's the Rotopod 250. So, bigger bulb, bigger coil. Now that we've showcased that one, let's go ahead and plug in the LED and then look at the difference. Okay. No real comparison. The white is pure white or pearl, and then nice little dots, versus here you go, you can just see the coil, that's what's producing the effect. And these are a reflection of the diodes. So, coil and the LEDs, the diodes. So, gives you a little example of what the effects look like. Little idea there. Can't really mix them all together. So there you have it, my friends. That is the American DJ Sparkle LED. I've just kind of taken you through the history from start to finish on this wonderful American DJ light, and I highly recommend picking one up if you have the chance. They're not very expensive, and they're an awesome effect, especially when you want to do a slow number, a couple of slow songs during the course of the night. You know, 2 or 4 of those things hanging from your truss or your towers on the dance floor is pretty awesome. So definitely get 1 or 2 of those, and it'll definitely add to your lighting. So thank you very much for watching this video, and stay in the mix.